Welcome to the Dandemonium Podcast. This is episode 48. I'm moving this thing around. Getting a little too excited over here. You know, there's a lot to talk about. I'm coming to you midweek. This is hump day, motherfuckers. As I have said on my Facebook page, I plan to do 2 episodes a week, one being a Sunday, which I consider if there's one that's going to happen throughout the week, it will most likely be a Sunday. And the extra, I was starting to call them bonus episodes, but I think I'm just going to move those into full episodes and keep those numbers racking up, my friends. And thank you all for tuning in to episode 48 of the Dandemonium Podcast. There is so much to talk about. My life has been so exciting. You won't be able to believe it. So exciting. So I'm so excited to put down this podcast. One of the first things is I'm 42. Okay, that's 42 years old in my life existence since the day of my birth. And 42 plus. Okay, there's several months. We're not counting months. I'm like 500 months old if we are counting. But we'll call it 42 years because that's how we count in America. And as I get older, so I noticed this as soon as I started to turn around mid-30s, 34, 35, I started really feeling the effects of just like deterioration. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a good feeling. And I'm like, this is way too fucking early for me to feel like this. And then it just got worse over time. So it's been we'll call it another 5-6 years in the making of feeling like this. And every year it's like, like right now, you know, I got a chest brace on. Who the fuck, what 42-year-old is walking around with a chest brace because I popped a rib? This is just in my normal working activity. Stuff that I don't do every day. However, stuff that, like, I will have to occasionally do and exert my body in, like, I'm a goddamn contortionist. If you wrap vehicles, or this would probably go the same for, like, a mechanic in some ways. Like, you're a contortionist. Like, you got to get in these weird fucking awkward positions, or like lay down on the ground, work under the vehicle, or like you gotta fucking, who knows if you have a chair, maybe technology helps to make it easier in ways. Like you got this hydraulic chair that you're like, whoop, whoop, you know, fucking lounging back. You're getting under a lifted vehicle by not doing much, just using the rollers and scooting around in your little chair. So there are technologies that make it a little easier, but being a vehicle wrapper or like doing a roof, like wrapping a roof of a vehicle, you ever do that? No, probably not. There's not a lot of people that do vehicle wraps. We are a specialized breed and confirmed a little off. No, just kidding. But you just gotta, my point being, you have to put your body and yourself in just awkward positions. And at 42 years old, like that starts to take a little bit of a toll on you. I gotta pop the rib. There's several years ago where I heard a crack in my ankle. I'm walking downstairs to the basement of my house. Just walking, and with every step on my left side, it's like pop, pop, right, left, pop, right, left, pop. And I'm walking, and I'm like, geez, it's a little too young for this. I'm like 39, 40 years old. Like, I didn't sign up for this. But I did get a cool nickname out of it, which I coined myself, and that was Ankle Pops. All right. But my Latina lovers, they call me Ankle Papi, you know? And now Now I'm 42 years old. This is the second time this happened. This shit takes like 3 weeks to recover from. At least 2, 3 weeks. Maybe with this brace, because it is starting to feel a little bit better. But that's technology helping me to heal a little bit. Like technology of that hydraulic chair that gets you under vehicles out of lift. All that good shit. All right. So now my Latina lovers are calling me chest Papi. Because I got the chest pops. That was fucked up. You know what else? Like, and then everything works together. So there is a time, if you have a certain ailment, like a chest pop, it's been just over 1 full week of this chest pop. And I wake up in the middle of the night. I roll over to like get in a different sleeping position. And I'm like, ow! I don't say it out loud, but in my brain, I'm like, ow! Just one little move. I'm 42 years old. Ugh. Where does it go from here? Oh, man. But this technology makes it better. I'm getting older. Oh, yeah. So over Saturday, or Sunday, rather, I had mowed my yard. And afterwards, normally the common courtesy of any sort of like yard, high quality yard maintenance, you want a nice look. If you put the work in to cut your yard, you want it to look nice. So that includes blowing all the cut grass off your driveway and the sidewalks. I have an electric blower where I have to plug that into the wall. It equals 2 50-foot extension cords together in order for me to get to the corners of the front yard, clearing off the sidewalk and the driveway and everything. I only had one because I had placed this other one on a job. It was somewhere else, not to my accessibility. So I had one. And then even with my chest pop, my popped rib, it's like cracking your knuckle. I thought the first time it happened, because this is number 2, the first time I thought it happened, I thought I popped a lung. Oh, excuse me. Hey, cheers. It's been just the first time it happened, I feel like I popped a lung because I had shallow chest compression, shallow breathing, just to try and, again, compensate for my popped rib. I'm getting off on a tangent. I was talking about the blower and the edges of the... So I only had... Let me finish this story. I only had one extension cord, and I couldn't reach the edges of the property. So I'm like, I'm going to finish this. And I'm going to take a broom, and I'm going to sweep off this cut grass. I shouldn't move too much because that's hurting my rib. I'm fucking old. So I take a broom. It's not even a push broom, like a industrial push broom. It's just a little house broom, nice little house broom. But I'm vigorously, because I'm trying to kick it up. Like, I don't want to spend all day out there just pushing away. The more time I spend, the more this shit is going to be aching. So I put my all in it, and I compensated for the popped rib, and I'm going through these motions, scooping the grass one way and another. Swift motions. Kicking up the grass, getting that shit out of the way. One pass does the trick. And I didn't feel anything that evening, but the next day, I wake up Monday, and I'm like, why the fuck does my back hurt? What the fuck did I do? And it didn't even hit me until I woke up, I showered, and then I'm like, man, it's just sore. What did I do to deserve this? And I'm like, yeah, I was sweeping up the cut grass in my front yard and compensating for my popped rib. This is what it is getting old, So I will probably have this chest brace on for another, just a mild brace. Just keep everything together. Hopefully it heals a little quicker. If I get to remove this thing, I take it off and on. I relax, whatever. I don't think constant chest compression is a good thing for you, especially being as old as I am. So yeah, that's a day in the life of not only an old man, but a homeowner that has to take care of your business. And speaking of homeowners and just, my Latina lovers calling me chest Papi now. Some still call me ankle Papi. But I used to live in a small town. Small little section of a small town called Chicago. And I used to live there for a very, very young age of my life, but I knew what was going on. I was very aware at the years of 2 years old, okay? And I'm in this small little city, a small little section, just a little cutout piece of section of a small little city called Chicago. And this little section of Chicago consists of about 80% Puerto Rican population. So I know I stand with you in these times of the hurricane and destruction. I stand with you, Puerto Rico, 100,000 times, million%. All the way. All the way. I feel a close connection with the Puerto Rican community, not only in my very young years at 2 years old in a small little section of the small town of Chicago. Please mark in your comments if this is too much. I'm just trying to tell you some stories. Keep you entertained over here. I feel like if I do one podcast a week, the shit becomes stale in my head. I got to keep things going. I'm getting back to it, and I'm having a really fun time with this video and just audio portion of things and just staying with the schedule because it's given me a little bit of new purpose. So why don't you please like, share, subscribe. I only have 19 people subscribed to the YouTube channel. Could really use a little bump. So if you enjoy this podcast, I want it to be legit. I don't want you to sign on to this if you don't feel like you're enjoying it, or like maybe I'm new. I'm such an amateur at this. But it's a personal, I say this once and I'll say it 1,000 million trillion times again. This is a project of personal growth and perspective. And if it not only brings it from and to me, then I hope that it does to one or two of you. What's the next thing? The next thing I wanted to talk about, because I don't want to, I could go on forever just about my old man ailments, but I don't want to do that. But I stand with you. I change my Facebook page, profile picture every time, the new topical thing. Like when Alec Baldwin, shot that person on sight and just killed. It was the director, injured somebody else, I think. This guy's a maniac. But I even changed my profile picture. I'm like, Alec Baldwin, I stand with you. Shit was an accident, Actors are just reckless, and they should be excused for the recklessness because that's just the nature of the actor, Joe Biden, every time you fuck up your speech, calling yourself part of the Puerto Rican population, whatever his story was, I didn't even see it, but that's big news. Everybody just wants to talk about the same fucking shit all the time. But no, why don't you tune into the Dan Amodio podcast? Because I don't talk about what everybody else is talking about. I mean, I talk about I'm an old man, okay? I think I'm going to actually talk about cilantro and how much I love cilantro. Not only on my tacos, but I fucking bathe in that shit. If I'm taking a bath, I'll sprinkle no bubbles, no essential oils, no Epsom salt. Just sprinkle that shit. No fucking rose petals or candles or none of that bullshit. And sprinkle cilantro. And that's self-love. All right. I know that I'm bathing in what what the crazy cilantro gene people might call soapy atmosphere. But I like to eat it and I like to bathe in it. Sometimes I will just, after the shower, I'll just do a little rubbings on my neck with cilantro. If I have a shirt that has a pocket in it, I'll put that shit in there like a little napkin, like a handkerchief. Like a goddamn corsage. What's a corsage? But I really like cilantro, especially on the tacos. Happy National Taco Day as of last Tuesday, October 4th or whatever the fuck it is. That's good. I started cooking my tacos and prepping those shits at like midnight. I didn't even know it, but it was National Taco Day, and I started at like minutes after midnight. Started prepping those beef tacos, cutting up the ingredients so the next day, because sometimes I get lazy. So what you have to recognize when you being an old man, a 42-year-old old man, you have to recognize when you have the energy for stuff. And I'm typically a night owl, so my energy primarily comes in the evening, Dracula hours. No, typically late in the evening, and it was like midnight, and I started making tacos, Unbeknownst to my awareness that it was National Taco Day coming up like minutes before. So here's to National Taco Day, and then what else? The last thing, I'm going to close you out with this. I didn't even have a chance to check my notes. I remember this shit because I've been thinking about it. Now, by the time Sunday rolls around, I would have already forgot about it. So that's why 1 week is too long for this podcast. I need to give you 2 episodes, Sunday, Wednesday. Tune in. Like, share, subscribe. Por favorskis. That's how they say it in Puerto Rico. They're like, por favor, sign up for my YouTube page. Lord, I apologize. But I don't know. I don't know. I love everybody. Like, there's not a lot of people that I don't like. So you got to really be like a piece of shit for me to be like, I don't know. They're questionable. So let me close with this. And this just gives me this is one of life's gifts. I start doing this podcast. I work in my basement. I use the bathroom in the basement and all this stuff. And there's normally never any problems. Now, homes, just like ourselves and our bodies, we go through wear and tear. We go through general wear. And occasionally that shit needs a little maintenance. I'm realizing for myself and my body and everybody's body, especially as you get older, it's not just, you can't just like a house. You can do a little bit of maintenance here and there. Just keep up with the shit that needs to be taken care of. Right? Boom. You're good. But your health, your body, on the other hand, needs constant maintenance. And I am realizing this, and it takes a lot of work, a lot of change, a lot of, it can only come within. It can only come from within. There's nobody that's going to tell you anything maybe somebody could. Maybe you listen to a podcast of some health professional and they're like, oh, damn, that really makes sense. Does it mean I got to give up those tacos? No, it doesn't. You can make it work with those tacos, but it's got to come from within. You got to feel it. You got to want and almost like need and thrive. Or strive at least for that change to make some action, but only you can make it happen. And I tell myself this every day, and still I'm like, you're old, you're lazy, you piece of shit. At least you've been podcasting on a consistent basis, but other than that, your fucking ribs are popping, your ankles popping, you're you're losing steam, buddy. So after all this time, I used my basement, the bathroom, all this stuff, and like, I go down to use the bathroom today, go to do a little bit of work, and I see a little puddle on the tile just outside of the sink cabinet. A slow leak developed enough for it to, because I don't go under the cabinet, so a slow leak developed enough for me to see a little puddle outside of the cabinet on the tile, as well as then that's like, well, what's going on? I'm looking up at the ceiling, seeing if there's any watermarks and whatnot, and then I open the cabinet, and sure enough, it's coming from the bottom of the cabinet. Long story short, because this isn't very interesting, as I do as a YouTube professional, I looked it up, and I thought it was coming from the bottom. The actual shutoff valve on the bottom of the sink cabinet. So I'm like, okay, what does it take to fix and or replace a shutoff valve? And I had some professionals. This is why you call the professionals, folks. Okay, this is why you call the people that specialize in the things that they do. I called a friend that's great with the business that I'm in because I know a bunch of contractors. You need something done? I can tell you a person. I could refer you to a person on basically any contractor service that you might need because I do the graphics, I do the yard, I do the vehicles. Call me for vehicle wraps. Dandemonium Podcast, a.k.a. unofficial sponsor, Rebel Wraps, and also just like and share this page. So I called the professionals. It's like, no, this is coming from the supply line. And it's not the elbow from the copper pipe into the line, but it's from the line into the sink is called the supply line. I actually, being a homeowner now for over 12 years, I can officially say, I have extra parts. And I'm like, I got those parts. So they took care of me. They didn't even charge me anything. It's a friend. I super, super appreciate it. There's always been super cool. It's not the first time they've helped me out with home stuff. So just like the home, this is speaking to myself. I'm speaking into the camera to myself at this moment. So if you can find the energy, I got to be serious now. I'm in a serious face. If you can find the energy, right, to have the awareness and energy and knowledge and focus to know that your body needs continual maintenance. All right, that's it. End skit. I really appreciate everybody tuning in for the 48th episode of the Dandemonium Podcast. This is the first officially Wednesday episode since I've announced I'm doing Sunday and Wednesday episodes. Please tune in next time. I have to format this so I can publish it. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of the week. I'll talk to you on Sunday. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to you then.